America, we need to talk. And I suggest you sit down for this conversation because it's a long one. I had to write down a lot of this, okay? Because it's a lot. It's past racism, fascism, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, Christian, Muslim, white, black. None of that matters. We are now in self-preservation mode. America is teetering on its very survival at present. And we are going to discuss factual things that can be verified and not flagged for misinformation. Things that are actually happening in America, contrary to censorship. You can go ahead and fact check everything that I am going to tell you. You can pick the source. These are unanimously agreed upon factual current events that cannot be censored, watered down, or diluted because of your opinion or your feelings. It has fuck all to do with what's happening. Throw out the fake news ideology or the polarized media and politics, and let's actually talk about it like adults. So without further ado, we're going to dive in. Buckle up. Let's start with the easy part, which is the automotive industry. Subaru, Honda, Nissan, Kia, Mazda, Volkswagen, and oddly enough, Tesla have all announced that they will produce in Mexico and Canada and will be pulling their automotive manufacturing plants out of America. The initial problem with this is hundreds of thousands of Americans are going to lose their manufacturing jobs from these plants. Then you're going to see the trickle down, which is a difficult concept for a lot of uneducated Americans to wrap their heads around. The trickle down effects of this means a loss of job in the dealerships, a shortage of parts. So mechanics won't be working as often as they did. Service departments are going to be losing business. Vehicles are going to increase in cost substantially, not only because they're being manufactured now in countries that America is placing tariffs on, but the import of it increases it automatically. The tariff increases it. And then you have our government eradicating all programs to protect consumers from predatory lending, meaning that the banks are going to come out in full effect, overcharging you more than they already did for your interest rates. You will not be able to afford to buy or fix a car, on top of hundreds of thousands of Americans losing their jobs. This is also going to cause a hit to the automotive insurance industry, as well as the automotive warranty industry. Hundreds of thousands of jobs are going to be affected, and cars will no longer be affordable to purchase or repair. That's number one. That's the easy part. Maybe you don't work in the automotive industry, so you're not necessarily worried about your job. Maybe your car is paid in full and you just assume it's never going to break. On top of that, UPS and DHL have announced massive layoffs that are in the coming months. 280,000 federal workers have already been laid off, and lots of farms are currently going bankrupt, being foreclosed on, and re-auctioned off to be purchased by billionaires due to the economic relief Biden offered during the pandemic that President Donald Trump repealed on day one of his presidency. You don't believe me? It's called the SAVES Act. It provided $130 million in federal aid to American farmers post-pandemic so that they did not lose their farms. That doesn't exist. Their farms are already being foreclosed on and auctioned off. That is happening. All further FEMA grant programs have completely been eradicated and abolished. On top of that, the FEMA relief that was authorized to states like North Carolina, Florida, and Tennessee post-Helen from the Biden administration has been pulled back. They were already promised these payments, and they are now being taken away because our current president said not only is it not necessary, it's wasteful. So moving forward over the next 4 years, should any natural disaster happen upon your home, there is no more FEMA grants to assist any of you. You just don't have a home. That's it. That's all. The mass deportations initiated on the American farms, targeting illegal immigration workers on American farms, crippling American agriculture. Berries, citrus, nuts, and avocados all just rot on the trees because there is nobody to pick and deliver this produce. All of this while America suffers the effects of the new tariff war, which has ruined import. China will not ship us anything. This is verifiable. You can real-time track all incoming shipments and outgoing shipments through inafo.co, and there are none. When you look at the Shanghai ports, every outgoing export to America has been docked and paused indefinitely. When you look at the American ports, more specifically Los Angeles and Seattle, you will see that nothing is coming in. They are not shipping us anything. Do you know what that means? Outside of the fact that your food, your produce, your toiletries, your toilet paper, your cleaning supplies, your hygiene, and your medicine all come from China, and you will not have any of the such. That means that shipping dock workers don't have jobs. That means that truckers don't have product to move. That means that freight companies and railroads are also not going to be moving any of these products. That is more jobs lost, while our shelves are going to be literally empty in the coming weeks. While Americans are losing their farms, their unions, their jobs in the automotive industry, their jobs at the docks, their jobs at the railroads, and their jobs as truckers, your shelves are running bare of food, medicine, toiletries, and housing products. And the President of the United States is joking that instead of having 30 Barbie dolls at Christmas, you'll have 2 that you pay more for, acknowledging very much so that there is going to be depleted resources for Americans everywhere. And not only is he happy at the fact that you are not going to have access to what you need, you're going to have to pay more for what little they give you. That is a direct quote. Where they would have $30, they're now going to have 2 that they might have to pay a little more for. Oh, if a nationwide shortage of food and medicine doesn't terrify you, while Americans across all industries are losing their job, unemployment is skyrocketing, our economy is in shambles, and we are now in a frivolous trade war, let me just remind you that the Department of Education was just federally defunded, meaning that all across the United States of America, public school systems are no longer being funded by your tax dollars that they have already collected and allocated to funding your child's education. So if you do still have a job to go to during the day, where do you intend on sending your children? And if you think that after losing your job and your children losing their education and you not having access to food or medicine is terrifying enough because, well, you've got programs like Medicaid and Link or unemployment to fall back on, don't. The very government that a lot of you guys voted for is gutting those programs while simultaneously gutting your Mima's Social Security, closing down thousands of offices across the United States, as well as closing down any access to telephone or in-person meetings, meaning everything will be done by the internet and there will not be a single human being you can speak to. So should they decide to skip your Social Security check, you will have no recourse, nowhere to file a complaint, nobody to answer your questions. There will be no more government assistance for the poor and needy, which is undoubtedly going to be majority of America because we no longer have a middle or upper class. And let's just be abundantly clear here, right? All of this is happening because some billionaire who's never walked a mile in your shoes or has never set foot in any of the communities you vote in told you that a Mexican picking your oranges and building your homes makes America unsafe. They told you that they're living off your tax dollars when in reality they're contributing $900 billion to the GDP in tax dollars that they never ever get to see any benefit from. That's what's making America unsafe. It's not the looming famine. It's not the deputized KKK members, Christian nationalists, and Proud Boys legally acting as ICE agents. It's not the concentration camps they're sending innocent people to with no due process. It's not the complete elimination of due process for every person in America, for that matter. It's not the warrants that are no longer needed. It's not the illegal searches and seizures happening in Oklahoma where they're dragging women and children out into the streets in the rain, in their underwear, in the middle of the night, only to steal all of their life savings. It's not the fact that we actually have outbreaks of E. coli and measles that they've completely swept under the rug. It's not the uptick in hate crimes and school shootings. It's not the defunding of your child's educational system. The grand finale is now that Republican lawmakers voted to deport U.S. citizens. 38 states have deputized civilians of their choosing to work on behalf of ICE to round up suspected illegal immigrants with no warrant and no due process, to send them off to a concentration camp. That's not what makes America unsafe. It's the Mexican picking your oranges and building your homes and paying into tax revenue that they will never benefit from. Right? Maybe you drank the Kool-Aid. Shame on you. That goes without saying. But sitting down and staying quiet or supporting the current administration means you want to lose your jobs. You want to starve. You want to starve while racist civilians deputized by ICE have free reign to run up in your home without any warrant, steal your belongings, drag your wife and daughters into the streets in their underwear, and then deport whoever, whenever, for whatever, without any proof of criminal background or illegal migration, only to plaster the face of the person they sent to an El Salvadorian death camp on a Photoshopped poster on the front lawn of the White House while you send your kids to a school where they eat poison, don't learn anything, and run the risk of being shot by a fucking extremist. Don't ever preach to me about protecting your constitutional rights, and more specifically, the one to bear arms, while you are sitting on an arsenal and letting your government treat you the way it is. You can't call yourself an American. You don't get to pretend to be that anymore. There is nothing American about idly sitting by while the rights you claim to vote and fight for are picked piece from piece every single day. You can't call yourself an American while your children contract measles and get poisoned from E. coli because a former heroin addict lobbies behind food manufacturing companies that profit off of feeding you imitation food and poison. You let them poison you all your life with diabetes and cancer and heart disease and high blood pressure, only to give them the quick drop on your kids with fucking E. coli? You can't sit in my face and tell me that you're an American while clutching an AR-15 you refuse to forfeit for the safety of your very own children under the premise of a Second Amendment, which was only created so you could use that AR-15 to overthrow a fascist government, while refusing to use that AR-15 to overthrow a fascist government, but watching an extremist use that AR-15 on your very children in the school your fascist government just defunded. I'm sorry, what? What? You're a proud American country boy, but you're letting foreign countries and billionaire trust fund fuckboys buy up the very farmland your family fought, settled, and tended through depressions, recessions, and all types of wars. Who's an American? Who? You can't call yourself an American while eating your fill of Fox lies, listening to them talk about how libtards hate Trump's perfect body and everything is Biden fault, but you starve in real life because your shelves are bare. And even if they weren't bare, the food that previously existed there was poison for profit. They have fed you poison all of your life until you were so riddled with diabetes, obesity, and cancer that you became dependent upon the very medicine they won't pay for and you no longer have access to because China isn't shipping it. You cannot call yourself a Constitution-loving freedom fighter, a blue-blooded American, while you idly sit by or furthermore advocate for the elimination of due process and the deputizing of American terroristic organizations, while you watch your government vote to deport American citizens. How do you deport an American citizen? I don't think you guys get it. In 38 states, they are deputizing civilians, aka Proud Boys, and KKK members, meaning that these people have free reign to go into your home without a warrant and kidnap whoever they deem to be illegal without due process and send them to the very concentration camps your grandfathers fought and died on foreign soil to eradicate. You are not American if you allow this. You aren't. You don't get to pretend anymore.